Over 7 million families in the UK are now struggling to pay their basic bills, and that number is growing every single month. But here's the real shocker. Many of these families have two full-time incomes, yet they're still drowning in debt. What's really going on? Is it just bad money habits? Or is the system stacked against ordinary people? In this video, we're pulling back the curtain on the hidden reasons why UK families are going broke in 2025. From skyrocketing housing costs to silent subscription traps, you'll be surprised by what's quietly draining your wallet. Stick around till the end, because knowing the truth might just help you protect your own future. Number 1. Rising housing costs. Let's start with the elephant in the room, the one that's swallowing up nearly half of many families' income: housing costs. In 2025, the UK is facing a full-blown housing crisis. Whether you're renting a flat or paying off a mortgage, chances are your housing costs have gone way up and your income hasn't kept pace. Here's the cold truth. The average monthly rent in the UK has now surpassed £1,300, with Londoners facing rents as high as £2,500 or more. Even outside major cities, prices have shot up due to low housing supply, high demand, and slow government response. But it's not just renters feeling the heat. Homeowners who once celebrated low interest rates are now being crushed by mortgage hikes. With the Bank of England's base rate rising to combat inflation, families with variable rate mortgages are seeing their monthly payments jump by hundreds of pounds overnight. According to a 2025 report by Shelter UK, over 2 million families are now considered housing stressed, meaning they spend more than 40% of their income on housing alone. And when so much of your income is going into keeping a roof over your head, there's not much left for groceries, childcare, transport, or savings. It becomes a financial trap. You're working hard, but always falling behind. Here's the kicker. Even those who've done everything right, got a job, saved up, followed the rules, are still being priced out. This isn't just about affordability, it's about security, dignity, and the future of the middle class. So ask yourself, how much of your income is going to your home, and is it worth the price you're paying elsewhere? Number 2. The energy price shock. Now imagine this. You're paying more to heat your home than to feed your family. Sounds extreme? For many in the UK, it's now a harsh reality. In 2025, energy prices have exploded. Again, even after a brief dip in 2023, rates surged back up due to a perfect storm: global fuel shortages, rising carbon taxes, aging infrastructure, and geopolitical tensions across Europe. Today, the average UK household pays over £2,000 a year on energy bills, and that's just for electricity and gas. According to Ofgem, energy bills have risen by 37% since 2023, and for some vulnerable families, the increase is even worse. And here's the terrifying part. You can't escape it. You can cut back on takeaways. You can cancel a subscription, but you can't stop heating your home, especially during the brutal UK winters. Parents are now being forced to make impossible choices: heat or eat. Elderly citizens are skipping meals to keep warm, and small flats with poor insulation are becoming financial black holes, draining cash faster than most can earn it. Even so-called energy efficiency programs aren't helping fast enough. Many homes are still waiting for upgrades like double glazing, modern boilers, or smart meters, but help is delayed or inaccessible. And let's not forget standing charges, the fees you pay just for being connected, even if you barely use energy. These hidden costs quietly chip away at your finances, month after month. So the next time your energy bill arrives, ask yourself, is this just a utility, or has it become a luxury? Because for millions of UK families in 2025, keeping the lights on has never felt so expensive or so unfair. Number 3. Childcare costs that rival rent. Here's a question for every parent out there. What's more expensive, your rent or your childcare bill? If you said childcare, sadly you're probably right. In 2025, Childcare costs in the UK have reached shocking new highs, with full-time nursery fees in many areas exceeding £1,500 a month per child. Let that sink in. That's more than most people pay for housing, and it's turning parenting into a financial crisis. According to the Family and Childcare Trust, the average annual cost of childcare now sits between £15,000 and £20,000. That's the same as a year's tuition at some universities for toddlers. And the worst part, availability is shrinking. Waiting lists are longer, staff shortages are everywhere, and many providers are closing due to unsustainable costs. So what happens? Families are forced to make impossible choices. One parent, usually the mother, often quits their job because it's cheaper to stay home than pay for childcare. That means lost income, stalled careers, and long-term financial consequences. Others take on extra hours, side gigs, or even debt just to cover basic care. And government subsidies? They help, but they're not enough, and don't always cover full-time needs. This creates a brutal paradox. You need a job to afford childcare, but you need childcare to keep your job. It's a broken system, and families are paying the price. So ask yourself, is raising a child becoming a luxury only the wealthy can afford? Because in 2025, it's starting to feel that way. We put a lot of heart and hard work into making videos that uncover what others won't. So if this hit home, drop us a comment, even just an emoji, to let us know you're out there. And please, subscribe. It's just one click, but it helps us keep the truth coming. Number 4. The grocery trap. Have you walked into a supermarket lately, picked up just a few basics, and walked out wondering where your money went? Welcome to the grocery trap. In 2025, the cost of food in the UK has spiraled out of control. Essentials like bread, milk, eggs, fruit and meat, once affordable, are now becoming luxuries for many families. According to the Office for National Statistics, food prices have risen by 21% since 2022, with some staples jumping over 30%. And it's not just price hikes, it's shrinkflation too. Smaller packages, fewer biscuits in the tin, less cheese in the block, all at the same or even higher price. It's subtle, and that's what makes it dangerous. You're paying more, but getting less. A weekly food shop that once cost £60 now creeps toward £90 or £100. Multiply that by 4 weeks, and suddenly hundreds of pounds are disappearing from your monthly budget. Families are now turning to discount stores, reduced aisles, and even food banks just to make ends meet. And still, it's not enough. The rising cost of food isn't just a matter of inconvenience, it's creating nutrition gaps as families are forced to choose cheap, processed meals over fresh produce. And let's not forget the hidden pressures. Packed lunches for kids, birthday party snacks, holiday meals, they all add up. The saddest part, even budgeting carefully doesn't always help. Prices change week by week, one bad month, and suddenly you're cutting corners where it matters most, on health, energy, and quality of life. So ask yourself this, when did eating 3 balanced meals a day become a financial challenge? Because for many UK families in 2025, it already is. Number 5. Buy now, regret later. Ever seen that tempting little button at checkout that says, buy now, pay later? It feels harmless, convenient, even helpful. But in 2025, it's become a modern debt trap, and it's quietly sinking thousands of UK families into financial chaos. Platforms like Klarna, ClearPay, and Lay-Buy have exploded in popularity, offering split payments on everything from clothes to groceries. And here's the catch. There's no credit check up front, no interest at first glance, and everything feels easy. But behind the scenes, it's not so friendly. A recent Citizens Advice report revealed that over 1 in 5 young adults in the UK have missed a buy now, pay later, BNPL, payment in the last year. And with each missed payment come penalty fees, late charges, and even credit score damage, often without users realizing it until it's too late. Why is this happening? Because these platforms normalize debt, especially for younger users. You're not just buying clothes, you're buying into a system that disguises borrowing as flexibility. And since many BNPL services are outside traditional credit regulations, protections are weak, and consequences can snowball. The biggest danger: people forget they've even used it. By the time the bill hits, they've already spent the money elsewhere. For families already stretched thin by rent, bills, and groceries, even a few forgotten BNPL payments can trigger overdraft fees, damaged credit, or even collection calls. It's not just about convenience anymore, it's about control. So next time you're offered buy now, pay later, stop and ask, am I buying freedom or a future financial headache? Because sometimes that later payment comes back harder than you ever expected. Number 6. Wage stagnation. Here's a harsh truth no one likes to admit. You can work full-time in the UK and still not earn enough to live. In 2025, that's become the reality for millions of workers. Why? Because while the cost of everything around us is skyrocketing, wages have barely moved. According to the Resolution Foundation, real wages in the UK are lower today than they were back in 2008. That means your pound buys less in 2025 than it did over a decade ago. And it's not because people aren't working hard. People are juggling multiple jobs, working overtime, starting side hustles, yet they're still falling behind. The problem is wage stagnation. While prices for rent, food, transport, childcare, and energy keep rising, average incomes haven't kept up. A typical middle-income household might see a small raise every year, but inflation eats it up before it even hits the bank account. Meanwhile, CEO pay and corporate profits are hitting record highs. So where's the disconnect? It's in a system where labor is undervalued, and the cost of living rises faster than any paycheck can catch up to. And here's the scary part. People feel like they're doing something wrong. They blame themselves for struggling, when the truth is, the math just doesn't add up anymore. Even professions once seen as secure, like teaching, nursing, or civil service, are now fighting to stay afloat. The result? No savings, no safety net, no breathing room. So ask yourself, if your job isn't helping you live better year after year, is the system working? Because when hard work no longer guarantees stability, something's deeply broken, and UK families are paying the price. Number 7. Medical and dental expenses. In the UK, we often hear, at least we have the NHS. But in 2025, even that safety net is wearing thin, and it's starting to show in people's wallets. Long waiting lists, overworked staff, and underfunded departments have left many families with no choice but to pay out of pocket for healthcare they once expected for free. Let's talk about the one most people ignore until it's too late. Dental care. NHS dentists. Harder to find than ever. A 2025 report by Healthwatch England revealed that 4 out of 5 people couldn't book an NHS dental appointment in their area, even after calling over 20 practices. The result? People are either going without care or being forced to go private, where a simple checkup can cost £70 and £100, and basic treatments quickly run into the hundreds. And it's not just teeth. Mental health services are overwhelmed, with 12-plus month waits for therapy through the NHS. That means many families are paying for private counselling, medications, or support for their children because they can't afford to wait. Even basic needs like prescriptions, physiotherapy, or eye tests now come with added fees or long delays, pushing people to turn to private clinics. And let's be honest, health isn't optional. When your child is in pain or your anxiety is keeping you from working, you'll find the money somehow, even if it means going into debt. Healthcare used to be the one thing people could count on in the UK. Now, it's becoming a financial burden families simply can't afford. So the question is, how long can we call it free healthcare when it's costing us this much? Number 8. Transportation woes. You'd think that getting to work or school shouldn't feel like a luxury, right? But in 2025, transportation in the UK has become a serious financial strain, and families are paying the price, one journey at a time. Let's start with fuel. Petrol and diesel prices have climbed back to record highs, with the average cost per litre sitting above £1.70. That means filling up a family car can now cost over £100, and that's just for the week. But ditching the car doesn't make things much easier. Public transport? Not exactly the budget option it once was. A 2025 Transport Focus report revealed that UK rail fares are now the highest in Europe, with average annual season tickets in London and the South East hitting £5,000 or more. Buses aren't much better. With routes being cut in rural areas and prices rising in cities, commuting to work, dropping kids at school, or even getting to a doctor's appointment can quickly eat up the monthly budget. And don't forget about car insurance, now at an all-time high, especially for younger drivers and families in urban areas. Many are paying £1,500 to £2,000 a year just to keep their vehicle legal. Here's what it all adds up to. Families are spending thousands per year just to move from point A to point B. That's not optional. It's not a luxury. It's a basic need, but it's draining pockets across the country. So the next time you step into your car or swipe your rail card, ask yourself, is transportation helping you get ahead or just keeping you broke on the go? Number 9. Subscription overload. Remember when subscriptions were a clever way to save money? Fast forward to 2025, and now they've become a silent drain on your bank account, one auto-renewal at a time. From streaming services and fitness apps to cloud storage, music, food boxes, and even kids' learning platforms, subscriptions are everywhere. And most families don't even realize how many they're actually paying for. According to a recent report by Money Supermarket, the average UK household now has between 6 and 10 active subscriptions, costing £60 to £100 per month. That's over £1,000 a year, often for services people barely use or even forgot they had. It's what experts call subscription creep. Those little £5 or £10 charges that feel harmless on their own, but quietly stack up in the background. And companies know exactly what they're doing. They make cancellations difficult, bury renewal dates, and often offer free trials that auto-convert into paid plans, hoping you won't notice. But when money is tight, these invisible luxuries start to hurt in very visible ways. Think about it. Are you really watching all those streaming platforms? Is that meditation app helping you relax? Or just another line on your credit card? What makes it even trickier is that subscriptions are digital. You don't physically hand over money, you just get charged, which makes it so much easier to overlook. Families trying to cut costs often look at food or heating first, but miss the tech trap hiding in plain sight. So here's a challenge. Go through your bank statement this week. Spot every recurring charge and ask, is this worth it? Because in 2025, subscription overload isn't just about convenience anymore, it's a quiet financial leak you can't afford to ignore. Number 10. Poor financial education. Let's be honest. How many of us were ever taught how money really works? Not in school, not at home, not even at university. And in 2025, that lack of basic financial education is one of the biggest reasons families across the UK are going broke. Most people know how to earn money, but not how to manage it, protect it, or grow it. We leave school knowing Pythagoras' theorem, but not how a credit card interest rate works, what a mortgage term means, or how to build an emergency fund. According to the Money and Pensions Service, over 60% of UK adults say they feel anxious or out of control when it comes to managing money. And it's no surprise, because financial skills are still treated like an optional extra instead of a core life skill. This knowledge gap leads to real-world damage. People fall into high-interest debt, sign up for unfair loans, miss opportunities to save or invest, and live paycheck to paycheck. Not because they're careless, but because no one ever taught them how to do better. And this doesn't just affect individuals, it impacts entire families. When parents struggle, kids grow up repeating the same patterns, creating a cycle of financial stress that lasts for generations. The worst part? Many people blame themselves, thinking they've failed, when in reality, they were never given the tools to succeed in the first place. So ask yourself, what's costing families more in the long run, rising prices, or the fact we were never taught how to navigate them? Because in 2025, knowledge isn't just power, it's survival. So why are families across the UK going broke in 2025? It's not just one thing, it's a chain reaction. Rising housing costs, sky-high energy bills, childcare fees that rival rent, and even the everyday expense of groceries and transport are pushing households to their financial limits. Add in subscription creep, buy now, pay later traps, and private healthcare costs, and you've got a situation where even families with decent incomes are being crushed. But perhaps the most heartbreaking part is this. People are blaming themselves for a system they didn't design. The truth is, this isn't about individual failure, it's about structural imbalance. And while we can't fix the system overnight, we can start by becoming more aware of it, talking openly about it, and making smarter choices within it. Because once you understand what's really happening, you're no longer just surviving, you're fighting back. While the problems are serious, they're not hopeless. Here are a few real steps families can take to regain control. Track every penny. Awareness is the first weapon. Use free budgeting apps like Emma or Money Dashboard to track spending and spot unnecessary leaks, especially hidden subscriptions. Prioritize essentials. Focus your income on needs over wants. That doesn't mean cutting all joy, just identifying what's really worth your hard-earned money. Review housing and energy deals. Look into council tax reductions, energy efficiency grants, and mortgage refinance options. Switching providers, even if only annually, can save you hundreds. Build a buffer. Even saving £10 a week adds up. A small emergency fund gives you room to breathe when the unexpected hits. Learn financial skills. There are free resources from Money Saving Expert, Step Change, and the Money Advice Service that can teach you budgeting, debt management, and even investing basics. Talk about money. Break the silence. Discuss finances with your family, friends, or community. Shared knowledge is power, and it reduces the shame that keeps people stuck. Remember, no single solution will fix everything overnight, but even small changes, done consistently, can rebuild your financial foundation over time. Your future doesn't have to be defined by the system. It can be shaped by how you choose to respond, starting today. If any part of this video made you think twice, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and join the conversation. Also, check out our previous video on how to build financial resilience on a tight budget. It's packed with tools that actually work. We pour our heart into these videos to bring you truth that matters, so please, hit that subscribe button. It's just one click, but it means the world to us.